is, because you know what? There are people who count on you spending that little bit of money at lunch or wherever. So do your takeout stuff. Keep the mom and pop businesses open, and work it like that, because we've got to stick together, and we've got to find a way, obviously, to get through this. And I think, we've done a great job. Obviously, people are prepping for food and water. And so I don't think you're going to see anybody starving over the next 2 weeks, even if the grocery stores didn't restock. But they are. According to the president, he's, again, called the entire grocery community across the country and said, hey, what do you need? Let's keep things going. Let's keep things moving. And so some people are still going to have to go to work, right? Grocery store clerks are still going to have to go in and stock. I know the auto companies here in Michigan, the big three already sent their people home. Anyone that did not have to be at work was told to work from home. Obviously, guys in security of the plants and wherever have to still be online, or still at work. But everyone else can work from home online. A lot of us can. Maybe that's another one of the bright silver linings that we're going to end up with out of coronavirus. And I tweeted that out last week. I said there is a coronavirus upside, right? What is the upsides that you're getting? You can't guess? Let's run through them, show you. Number one, people are going to realize that this is the heart of globalism. You want a truly globalist society? You want a truly globalist nation that's part of this big group of open-bordered nations? This is what you get. Open borders, lots of people coming and going all around the globe. Somebody gets a pandemic in far China. Guess what? 12 hours later, it's here, folks. That's part of globalism. So maybe people are going to now realize, maybe borders and maintaining our border security and who comes and who goes is a little more important than we thought before. Is this going to help the president get a wall built on the southern border? I would hope so. I don't expect the Democrats to be jumping on board with this, because right up until a few weeks ago, they were still yelling at Trump for doing travel restrictions from China because of a possible pandemic starting. The Democrats are clearly out of their head. But borders is one thing, What's another one that we've heard in the last week or so? We finally learned. Most of us didn't know. I didn't know, but many of us didn't know. 90% of our antibiotics and things come from China? Are you kidding me? The people that just poisoned it, they didn't. All right, maybe they did do it on purpose, but I'm not saying they did do it on purpose. The people that originated the virus that's shutting our economy down right now are the only ones that can make our medicine? Who made that decision? How did the government allow that to happen? That's one thing they should have said. We're not going to do imports. We're just not going to. You want to have that industry here? Yes, let's have that industry. Would it cost us a little more? Yes, it probably would, but it'd be worth it, right? Do you really trust having your antibiotics coming from China? Do you wonder why maybe 2 weeks' worth didn't work if you had a bug that wouldn't go away? Probably some watered-down toilet paper antibiotic that some schmuck in a village trampled up with his feet. Working his little feet through the rice paddy in the morning, and then goes into the mud hut and tramples up some antibiotics for you. Oh, gosh, I don't even want to think about that. Ugh. Okay, but anyways, you get where I'm at, right? So maybe one of the second thing that people will come out of this coronavirus is it's time to bring back specific manufacturer. How about those N95 masks, right? That's low technology. It's medical gear, but it's pretty low tech. Yet we shipped it all overseas. Really, we couldn't have half a dozen or 12 factories here in the United States churning out masks? I mean, I think the N95, if I'm not mistaken, is also used in construction. So it's not like you have to wait for a pandemic to make a business out of it. You're Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, they're all buying masks for sanding and everything else. I bet you from now on people are going to have masks on hand in the house. They may be a few years old, but they're going to stock them up. They're not going to be like the old days. And there was a time when I was in the construction industry, I always had at least paper masks around. I had a few N95s just because I did some painting back in the day too. So if you're spraying paint, an N95 was the right mask. I don't think we called it an N95 back then, but But you get where I'm at. Why would we take some of the most essential things, rubber gloves, nitrile gloves, gowns, all the things that, just probably we take for granted that the emergency room has a ton of, a hospital has a ton of. We have to buy them all from China? China's been shut down for 3 weeks before we got it here. I don't think they're probably up and running, at least not 100%. Now, in my business, I've already seen some of my suppliers back up and operating in China. So they must have hit that wave and they're coming back down and they're not up to 100%, but I'm getting some of the parts that I need that I'm getting yelled at by my customers, right? So China's made it through. If they started November, December, it was a 3-month process for them, right? November, December, January, February, now it's March. So 4 months for them, if maybe 3 to 4. Depending on how truthful they are or are not being with us. But we've got that same issue, right? So if we've got 3 months of this, and I think I just saw a headline a minute ago here on the computers that the president's thinking it could be here till July or August. Well, if we're starting here in March, April, May, June, that's 4. I'm thinking July, 5, it depends. We can't lock down like the Chinese do, obviously, welding people into their apartment buildings or boarding up their doors and keeping them inside and whatever else they did over there. Some of the memes I thought was crazy. I look back at that now and I'm thinking, ooh, what are we going to do here? Are we going to have to do a little martial law? Or is the president just going to say, you know what, be an American, do the right thing and stay home for a couple of weeks? I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. What do we know? We know that if you're over 80, you've got a pretty bad chance of dying, 20%, I think, 15 to 20%, if you're older and not in good shape. That could happen to you. 70s, it drops down. 60s, it's still there. 40s and 50s, it's really pretty much gone. And anyone under 30, I don't think anyone's died under 30 that we know of, at least in the U.S. anyways. I thought someone told me last week the average age of deaths in the United States was 80. It's probably dropped down over the last week or so, but Worldometers/coronavirus is a pretty decent website for getting your latest stats. I'd pull it open, but I'm too lazy right now. I'm actually having a little burgundy, a little glass of burgundy. As I couldn't do this at the studio when I was on the radio. I could do it when I'm here, right? Well, wouldn't you? Why not? I'm in the comfort of my own little studio here, looking at my belongings. Anyway, so coronavirus is serious, and I want people to don't think that I'm not taking it serious. Do those things, the hand washing, the self-isolation, let's not go out as much, but still try to keep the economy going by doing takeout or whatever. Buy things online, whatever you've got to do. But use some common sense. We want to nip this in the bud. We want to make sure that we don't spread it anywhere, and eventually it'll burn itself out, right? If there's nobody left or everyone's hiding away from it, it'll die out with the last person that has the germ. As soon as he's cured, or she, we'll be good. But do those things. But more importantly, I want to talk to the investors, to those of us who have 401ks, to those Wall Street gurus, those hedge fund managers, the bigwigs in the world, the people that are controlling all that money. Stop panicking. We put our faith in you people in Wall Street to not panic. We don't want you to. Why do we pay you fees on our 401ks and our investments and everything else if you're panicking? You're supposed to be smarter than us. Don't panic. I wish I had more money, because right now I'd be looking to buy. I really would. I just don't have it, because the money I do have is already in 401ks and it's already tanking out like everybody else's. I'm not worried. Right? It's not that I'm not getting close to retirement, because I'm getting kind of close to retirement. I'd like to think about it anyways. But obviously this is a setback for a guy like me. My 401ks were looking stellar, 2 weeks ago. Not so stellar now. We're way down. But that will come back, folks. That will come back. As soon as this thing's out of the way, we're going to come back like gang. I can guarantee you the stock market is going to come roaring back. Because you know what? There's going to be pent-up demand. People are thinking already. I'm sure there's a lot of people like me. Gosh, I wish I was in a position to buy. Wish I was in a position to buy. Well, there's a lot of people out there who are in that position to buy, and they're probably already working out the details and the schedules and getting ready to do it. So the stock market's going to come back. My prediction is by end of year, we'll be above where we were 2 weeks ago when we were near the 29. I think we'll be back to 29 by the end of the year. Unless people just get darn right stupid. And I want to encourage, I can't say it enough, America, stop panicking. Do the common sense things to make this go away. Close what you need to. Let's get it over with. Suck it up. Suffer through it. But be ready to bounce back. At the 80,000 foot level, looking down, say, you know what? I'm not going to panic. The assets of the country are still in place. The assets of every company that we've been buying for the last 2-3 years now is still in place. The assets are there. Is the market a little bad right now? Well, people are still going to be buying. They're still going to be buying food. They are in record amounts. They're going to be buying record amounts of toilet paper, obviously, even though they don't need it. So the money's out there. Things will come back, and we all need to stop this whining and crying and thinking that it's going to be the worst. The other one that drives me the craziest, Glenn Beck does it. Some other people, we're going to run. I've got some guys at work who send me the worst case scenario. We've got to flatten out the curve, otherwise we're going to have no beds. There's not enough beds in the country for people that will need them. Well, number one, 80% of the people who get this thing don't even have to go to the doctors. Which reminds me, don't go to the doctor. Unless you're super sick, stay out of the emergency rooms, number one. Call your doctor ahead of time if you feel like you need to go in. But for dog, it's a flu. Take the medication, do what you got to do. Eat your chicken soup, get lots of vitamins and water and rest. Do all those things. It's like getting a cold. Do those. Most people get those. It's a pain in the butt. It hurts. You're sore. You're miserable. Get over it. In 2 weeks, it'll be gone. And you'll be fine, and then you'll be hopefully immune to it after that, right? We get into another story that I had on the website not long ago. And if you're not going to the website, www.thedailydrift.com, I can't believe I've gone almost a half hour on the show and haven't plugged my website. And I really want to ask people, please, go to thedailydrift.com. You can get a free subscription. It'll come right to your inbox. Or at least go to the website for me, www.thedailydrift.com. I've been doing this since 2012. Conservative news aggregate. If you're sick of the Drudge Report and it's liberal slant, I don't know what happened to Drudge. There's no explanation. Nobody's heard anything. But they've certainly gone very anti-Trump and a little on the leftist side, if you ask me. So if you're looking for a good news aggregate, go to thedailydrift.com. Please, leave me a message if you want. Say hi, whatever, but you can certainly do that. So check it out. I spend a little time every day putting that together for you. It's not always perfect. If there's a story that you want to get out there, send it to me, and I'll put it up there. I'll even give you credit for it if you want. But let's finish off the coronavirus at this, because there's plenty of others news that's been happening, and we should get to it. But please pass on to your friends. Be ready to help. Let's pull together. Keep buying online. Keep buying at what stores you can buy at. Do what you got to do. Start working in the gardens at springtime. If you got some construction stuff and you got time home from work because you're working from home or whatever, work around the house. Keep the economy going. Don't think that this is the end of the world, because it is not. Folks, this is not the end of the world. Are we sliding into a recession? It can be a 2-week recession if we're smart about it. But we've got to bounce back. So don't. We're Americans. This is not how Americans act. We pull together, we grab our bootstraps, and we get this thing done. So if you got to stay home, you stay home. Spend your money. Save your money. Do all the things that Americans do. Don't let this change your life any more than it has to. And maybe it's just going to cause you to be a little less social, maintain a little extra distance, wash your hands a little bit more, and don't visit Grandma and Grandpa. Give them a call. That's what FaceTime is for, right? You can do that. Okay, so let's move on and do, why don't we talk about just briefly. So the Iranians started acting up again, right? So we had some rocket attacks from Hezbollah in Iraq, terrorists, and they were shooting some rockets and actually killed a couple Americans and a British doctor, I think, or medical personnel. And so the United States hit back and hit back pretty hard. But